I love John Madden, mostly because he makes me feel smart. No, he does. He makes me feel like a rocket surgeon.
As important as the voice and the mannerisms is, the material has to be there too, though.
Yeah, right? I think that the jokes are, I mean, if you don't have jokes, there's nothing worse than a comedian who does impressions, an impressionist who you're just waiting, should we clap now so he goes to the next one? So I never wanted that. I wanted it to flow like a regular comedian's act. So, whenever I write bits, it's funny because I'll write the bit and it'll end up becoming a bit with an impression in it because it just gets a better charge in it.
So you'll come up with an idea first and not necessarily assign it to a character?
Right, yeah, and then sometimes I work it in and it could be about Sean Connery. So I'm like, I used to do this bit about Sean Connery before I did the voice that he could meet a woman anywhere with that voice, a bar, a tavern, a zoo, pretty much anywhere they serve alcohol. But then I started adding he could be at the petting zoo, be like, nice goat, even the female, and I was like, oh my gosh, moo. I mean, you add that, now you've got another joke and another punch, and it's just that much more because you can bring it to life. And that's kind of what I do. And that's what my show in this fall is going to be. Is like the setups will be like the stand-up version of my act, and then instead of acting out all the impression stuff, we'll cut to a sketch. And I'll actually be doing it in the scene. You know, Pacino yells for no reason. I'd like to see somebody cast him as a librarian, cut to, Gotham City Library or something like that. And it's like, where's the B section? Where is the B section? What the heck is the Dewey Decimal System? It's a system created by a guy named Decimal, you ding-dong. You got to thinkify.
Madden. We come back to Madden. He's not a Frank Caliendo fan.
No.
I mean, don't invite Frank Caliendo and John Madden to the same
People
party.
always try and do that too. A lot of people try.
Do they really?
They're like, "We'll get you and John Madden on the radio." I'm always like, "Hey,
because you're on NFL Sunday Football." I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm fine with it, but just ask John because I'm sure he won't be. People have tried to ambush him with it. I'm like, "Hey, listen, don't do that. You're just going to make him mad."
Why do you suppose that?
I think sports figures always get put on pedestals their entire lives. So,
especially coaches.
Yes, absolutely, and they need to be in power positions because these guys, they all have to perform, and they're they have each other's lives in their hands. And if you're laughing about the coach and you can't take him seriously, it's not going to work. Now, you get out of the pro football, and maybe you're just used to that in your life. You know how I was talking to Howie Long about that. He's like, you get out of football and you're programmed at a certain point. You keep going, and you finally fades away.
Well, when you do Madden, you don't necessarily cast him in a flattering light with
I mean, it's not done to be mean. It's not done to be mean. It's all silliness.
Right, it's silly.
But you could take it. I mean, it's like anything. If but I make sure to make fun of myself constantly too. That's just how I am, and how I look at life in a silly way. So if people don't look at it in a silly way, that's their opinion, and they can do it that way. But I just choose to do it my way. And if you don't like it, well, here's a guy who's going to have to deal with it.
All right.
I have.
Madden loves this one football player more than anyone else on earth. Okay. Brett Favre. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it sounds so good when he says it. Brett Favre. You hear how good that sounds? Brett Favre. No other voice sounds that good saying Brett Favre. Not Brett Favre. Brett Favre. Brett Favre. Brett Favre. Brett Favre. No, Brett Favre.
If Madden were a Frank Caliendo fan, would it make it more difficult for you to poke fun?
Oh yeah, I always say.
Friend.
Years ago, I said all John Madden had to do is say he liked me, and then I would have been the biggest weasel in the world because producers would say, "Well, let's do this where you throw the chicken wing at the guy." No, John wouldn't like that. I would have been like that, but since he didn't, it made it easy just to be able to go, I'll do it, whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, again, I don't do it to be mean. I do it to make money. And here's a guy who doesn't lie. If he did lie, he'd never be a real boy. Get swallowed by a whale. His nose would start to grow. Geppetto would get mad. Cricket would start to sing. I love Geppetto.
All right, now was that ad-lib, or did you have that?
Some of that is. It's like I said. Robin Williams got it in the pocket. Here we go. Throw it out there. Make it look like it just happened for the first time.
Well, you seem to slip into these voices and have those lines just like that. Does it come
well, the Geppetto thing just happened. I almost went on with Bush. I love Geppetto. It's my favorite ice cream. So here's a guy who just thought of something new. Been there, done that. So have I. Well, not sure where we're going with some of this stuff. What was the question?
It doesn't matter?
No.
It doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't. When you think about it, in the end, it does not matter. No, it doesn't. Crazy stuff.
De Niro and Pacino in the same scene.
Why not? Hasn't happened since Heat, which was very warm, huh? I get it. I know.
What comes first, the voice or the mannerisms or the material?
I believe it's the egg, David. No, there's a chicken and an egg joke mixed up with that question. It all happens differently. It depends. You know, you could disguise a weak voice with a great bunch of mannerisms. That can happen, or the vice versa. If you have the voice dead on, there might not be much to the mannerism. You don't need it. Any of that's any combination. And then you know, like Will Ferrell did a great President Bush. But if you look back, it wasn't really dead on. He's just funnier than everybody else. That's the thing. It wasn't a great impression, but the guy's amazingly funny, and he looked a lot like him, and it just worked.
I think it's great we have a president who seems like he's always looking directly into the sun. Right? Every time you see the president, he's got this look on his face.
Somebody do me a favor and hand me a pair of sunglasses. Can somebody get me a visor?
Sir, you mean advisor?
No, a visor.
I didn't start doing President Bush till 2-3 years in. So.
What, you didn't think he was going to make it, or what?
No, I just never, you know, it just wasn't something I was doing, and then I got it, and then it started working really well, and people started talking about it all over the place, and then it brought my act a little bit more full circle, changed the demographics of it. It was all guys. Now it's about 60-40 male to female, which is a better ratio. It used to be guys that just brought all their friends. Now it's dates and all that kind of stuff. And that's how you get bigger, is you cross over different demographics and hit different groups, and then you know, like Larry the Cable Guy has tons and tons of different people.
Right.
Dave Chappelle has tons and tons of different people coming out to see him. Louis Black. That's what happens is